Thank you. For our second question, we'll start with you, Mr. Omar. Last week, many citizens in the city of Richardson received a mailing from the Richardson Coalition, a local political action committee. The coalition, which has endorsed Ms. Maczka this year, made negative statements in the mailing about Mr. Omar, including raising serious issues concerning his personal financial management. Do you have anything to say about the Richardson Coalition mailer?
You know, I'm so glad this came up. Somebody told me that it came up in last week's debate, but it didn't come forward as a question, and I think this is a perfect opportunity to be able to talk about this sort of thing. You know, we've got a great city, and one of the things that people were most worried about with a direct election was that potentially one group or another may feel like there was so much at stake that they were willing to say just about anything. And unfortunately, what you saw last week was that come to fruition. The fact of the matter is that there were three major claims made about me. And on one hand, what's disturbing, frankly, is the fact that they were willing and interested in going down a personal path versus focusing on the things that really matter to our residents. Things like I mentioned earlier, neighborhoods, crime, schools. But on top of making a personal attack, they ended up saying things that were unequivocally inaccurate. The first thing they mentioned, and you know, quite frankly, it disturbs me to even repeat the words, but I'm going to do it for the sake of getting this out. First thing they mentioned is that I was somehow behind, and not just a little bit behind, on child support. What I can tell you is that today we've provided the Dallas Morning News a stack of papers from the Attorney General's office showing every payment made on time, every time. We have an affidavit stating from my ex-wife that all the allegations are false. The idea, second idea that they brought out there was that somehow I was able to get out of student loans by filing for bankruptcy. I've never made a bankruptcy in 2000 when I was in my 20s, something that I hid, but the idea of being able to get out of student loans through a bankruptcy is silly. You can't, and I didn't even attempt to. And so it's those kinds of lies that really we should expect better. And I think Richardson deserves better than what we saw last week and again today.
Well, it didn't take long for this question, and so I too am glad that we'll be able to publicly speak on the mailer that came out from the Richardson Coalition. The mailer was produced by the Richardson Coalition. One of the claims that has been made is that I was part of developing that piece, and that is not true. When I made the decision to run for mayor of Richardson, I made a pledge. And my pledge was that I would run an honest, transparent, and fact-based campaign. I met with Mr. Omar in December and shared these same thoughts with him and had 4 things that I wanted to make clear. Let's not destroy that which we want to lead. Let's remember that at the end of this, we have to own everything that we say and do. Let's hold ourselves in a way that is respectful to the office, and let's remember that there are others that will be affected by how we handle ourselves. I pledged to be honest, transparent, and fact-based. I have not broken that pledge, and I have asked all those who have supported me to do the same. I've also honestly answered any question that anybody might have, because the reality is when you choose to run for public office, and this is a choice that I have made, you recognize that there are going to be certain questions that are going to be asked of you that an average citizen does not have to answer. And I committed and pledged that I would honestly answer any question, even the difficult ones, that might be about me, because it's the collective body of work that you bring into the office. And I will also say that I committed then and now that nothing from my past would reflect poorly on this community or the office which I intend to serve. I have honored that pledge. The coalition put out a piece. They included references to legal documents. When the question was raised, I simply asked the coalition to please put on their website the sources of these accusations. They put them up there for you to evaluate yourself.
Mr. Omar, 1 minute.
I don't have any problem answering questions, and I said earlier I welcome this particular question. But let's get a few facts straight. Laura uses the same consultant as the coalition does. This was a coordinated effort. This wasn't one person was blind from the other. So let's not allow people to try and kind of pull the wool over our eyes. The second part is that I've stated unequivocally that they are incorrect. I have submitted the information that shows that they are incorrect. And what I would hope is that as a leader who wants to be the mayor of our city, that Laura would do the right thing. That Laura would step up and say that she does not agree with the tactic and that she does not agree with people spreading lies just for the effort and just for the ability to be able to gain a public office. Listen, I love this city so much that I would never even consider something like that. And if one of my supporters did something like that, I would be the first. No one would even have to ask, because that's the kind of leader I would be. I would be the first to say, I do not tolerate those kinds of actions.
Ms. Maczka?
Well, the truth is, it was not a coordinated effort. And that's, again, a fact. You know, because I share the same consultant, by the way, the same consultant that my opponent had for the 2 campaigns prior to this one, does not mean anything. It's like saying a marketing company can't represent 2 products. This has not been a coordinated effort. I have intentionally not been involved in the coalition strategies and development of materials because I wanted to show that I am independent. I happen to share a consultant, but my messaging has been by me, and you will see, again, my statement, honest, transparent, and fact-based. This issue is between the coalition and my opponent. This issue is not between me and my opponent. When pushed, I asked for the coalition to put forth the materials that they feel prove the facts of what they were stating. They did that. I made no assessment and I made no comments on it other than to ask them to provide the facts.